Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm checking my volumes, and this part of the show is dedicated to Mr. B, who says it annoys him when I check my volumes, which is why I do it often now. Okay, before we get going, one of my sponsors, Miles Franklin Precious Metals, at the end of this show, just like the end of yesterday's show, you might be thinking about gold. So I have a code DAI Gold. You can email info@milesfranklin.com or call 952-929-7006, or just look in my description. This is a line of people in massive lines from across China as citizens rush to buy gold in an effort to preserve their wealth amidst a declining economy. How long until they start finding ways to obtain Bitcoin? The fool's gold. I like this tweet from Bill Morgan. Interesting take here. No appeal will disturb the finding. XRP itself is not a security. You are correct. The SEC said it will not appeal that finding. The market took it into account as the short-term price rises showed. I think the market did care about the lawsuit, but the impact on the XRP price was baked in by early 2021. When the lawsuit ends, though, regardless of the penalty, I think the market will react positively. The market needs to see legal clarity on the status of the asset itself. The lawsuit finally ended. 3, XRP being sold on exchanges. 4, Ripple still able to sell its XRP and use XRP in the cross-border payment and liquidity solutions in the U.S. and not the subject of business. Stultifying? Stultifying? Nullifying permanent indictment? Anyway, I don't know maybe I've just not ever heard of that word. Okay, anyway. We only have 1 and 3 now, thanks to Judge Torres. 2 and 4 will unlock the deferred massive impacts of 1 and 3. The lawsuit still matters, but XRP can reach all-time high this year without 2 and 4. I totally agree. If you can reach 384 or whatever the all-time high was with nothing, you better believe you can reach it now. We're thousands of miles ahead of where we were in January 2018 when the all-time high was hit. Now, Steven Narioff was on with I'm drawing a blank on his show. I'll get him in the next. I was talking to him. Crypto, is it for life? Anyway, I showed you his channel the other day. He's a really smart guy. I'll go back and I forgot to pull his YouTube channel. Let me see if they've got it down here somewhere. They don't have a link to the full video. But anyway, he's asking, the question that's being asked here is the question, it is the question. Why Ripple? Why did the SEC choose Ripple? Why XRP to sue? Why? Steven Narioff gives the answer here.
These players out there, why do you believe they came after specifically Ripple? That seems to be the one that is a legit business out there.
Why did they target Ripple in particular?
Yeah.
I mean, look,
yes.
It depends kind of like, if you look at it from a broader perspective, what were they trying to do with Ethereum, right? And so if you've got, JP Morgan's got this quorum, which they transfer to Consensus and then and put on an Ethereum, right, and which can do cross-border payments. And cross-border payments, could lead to the reserve currency of the world, right? It's not that much of a leap to get there, right? If you have to go through this thing to go from one currency to another, this thing may become the reserve currency, right? But check the cross-border payments. So, I've heard people like I know Charles, said, they're not even a smart contracts platform. And I said, well, maybe smart contracts was not what they were targeting. And because, right. I'm not targeting Cardano, but I'm, Charles is a friend, so I'm not but I get that that's you're in, the knee-jerk reaction, but what's the ultimate thing? And I think the issue was really, if I had to say it, Ripple goes back to your question before. Ripple was too good to catch. Even if you had like the full strength of the federal government, unless you change the rules, illegally blocked and tackled and did all kinds of stuff in order to slow them down,
right?
And so you could catch them, and you weren't going to catch them. They just had too much of a lead. There's a point where just even the government is not going to be able to catch a company, and it didn't work. They thought I'm sure they thought it would work, but at the same time, they would have accomplished the second task, because if they got Ripple and said Ripple is, a security, and there's no reason that all the smart contract tokens would have also been classified, and you could have really see a world. And this is where it's scary. You could see a world where we would just have two tokens that are not securities, and Ethereum and Bitcoin. Right. That was the end of it.
Okay, ETHgate's real, folks. Check this out. This is the Citigroup, or what do they call now? Citi. Listen to what she says here. This is a very interesting clip.
For Citi token services for cash and for trade. So now what we can do is we can move tokenized deposits around Citi's corridors. Right now it's just US and Singapore, with aspirations of adding another 3 to 5 in the next near term. Well, it's great that we have this internal token, but our clients don't want a Citi token or another bank token. What they want is cross-bank, cross-border liquidity. So it's key that now that we have the infrastructure of the platform built internally, we work with like Regulated Liability Network and other participants about how do we solve these difficult issues as an industry. And there's still a lot of questions out there, but this FMI that RLN aspires to be is extremely positive because it.
Okay, now Digital Perspectives had put this out as a little reminder today. We can't know 100% what will happen or how it will happen. That's what makes it so fun to watch. A man can dream. Replace the petrodollar agreement with XRP, XRPL. Underpin USD. Liquidity plus utility equals strongest US dollar in history for the next 150 years. They can peg the dollar value based on a network formula. Example, peg to $20. Next financial quarter, $50, 2 financial quarters, $200 bill, and on and on and on. They can monitor it. Now, many of you have never seen this paper. The general structure, this is a FEDCOIN paper that was written by a guy named J.P. Koning. FEDCOIN, a central bank issued cryptocurrency. He wrote it for R3, okay? Right here. An alternative way to create a FEDCOIN would be to pre-allocate the entire supply of tokens, say 100 trillion FEDCOIN. This block would immediately be awarded to the central bank to be held in reserve until they are required. Ripple set the precedent for 100% pre-allocation. At its inception, the entire 100 billion supply of XRP, Ripple's native token, was created outright, much of it retained by Ripple Labs, while the rest was auctioned off or given away. As for the reduction in the supply, the central bank can store surplus crypto coins in its vaults, much as it does with deposited banknotes that are still fit for a second go-round. Pre-allocating simplifies security requirements, as no one has the ability to issue Fed coins. However, it is exceedingly difficult to change supply later if demand is underestimated. A new coin, say FedCoin 2.0, would have to be issued in order to complement the exhausted supply of FedCoin 1.0. I don't know why, but that reminds me of when Stellar burned half of their supply. Now, I just happened to go and do a little search for J.P. Koning, who wrote that article, or wrote that write-up on FedCoin. I may not play the whole thing. May play half of it. You can listen to the rest on your time watch.
Who's worked in the Canadian financial industry, including jobs as an equity analyst, a financial writer, and design publishing. JP also consults for a blockchain company, R3, and runs a finance and economic charting business at financialgraphchart.com. JP also runs a blog called Moneyness, and this is JP's place that many of us go to visit to get the institutional and historical details on central banks and money. JP is a purveyor of all things monetary and monetary history, and today he joins us to talk about some of these facts. Now let's move on to some other. You've talked a lot about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Touch on those quickly, and then what I really want you to do is to focus in on the FEDCOIN instead of Bitcoin, and tell us what it is and the hope and prospects for it.
Okay, so Bitcoin was more of an exercise in trying to figure out how to make a stable Bitcoin.
An exercise or maybe a prototype?
A lot of us were really excited by Bitcoin. We found it really interesting when it first came out, and we've been following it. The huge problem with Bitcoin is it's incredibly volatile. So FEDCOIN is an attempt to, it's like, how would we make stable value cryptocurrency? And there are a couple ways to do it, but probably the best way to do it is to have a central bank. So that would involve altering one of the basic rules of Bitcoin, which is that it has a deterministic money supply. That the money supply has been set ahead of time in stone by the Bitcoin protocol. It will hit 21 million, I think, in 2140, 2141 or something, and there's nothing that can change. And that explains to a large part why it's so volatile. The idea behind FEDCOIN is to remove this deterministic money supply and put the money supply in control of the central bank. And that way, you'd have a stable cryptocurrency. Basically, and this is David.
Look, I want you to hear what he's saying here. He references this guy 2 times in this conversation. I just wanted to get to that part.
Basically, and this is David Alfato has described it quite well. You would think that Bitcoin is another denomination of bank notes. Mm-hmm. And the Fed would be able to create as many Bitcoins as it needed, or destroy as many Bitcoins as it needed, in order to keep that denomination anchored to all the other existing denominations at a set rate. For instance, 1 Bitcoin to 1 US banknote.
So are the prospects?
Okay, we won't go any further, but the guy, he that was the first time he referenced him, but the guy that he's referenced that he's worked with or whatever is David Alfato. Now, I'm gonna show you in DAIXRP.com, I'm gonna show you a David Alfato clip that, if you haven't seen it before, it'll blow your mind. But here's what else we're going to talk. Yesterday, I was talking about the censored video that I found. It was censored not once, not twice, 3 times in social media that revolved around the COMEX 589 rule. I'm going to go today. I'm in there. I'm going to show you that it's still censored first. Then I went and found the original clip and found the longer clip so that you can have a full context of what he was talking about, what he said, and I uploaded it to a separate platform so that if they censor all on X or whatever like they are now, we'll at least have a reference point for it. I'm going to show that part of the clip in there too. And I'm also going to show you that this is not the first time this has come up. I want to show you that this was coming up around. This is part of what made 2018, 2019 so exciting. People back then were making a lot of reference to these types of things. COMEX 589, the Rising Phoenix, the front page of the Economist magazine, and all that stuff. I'm going to show you what's going on. For some reason, this is being censored now, and I find that fascinating. Now, it's also, this is one of the many reasons all of you need to sign up for XRP Las Vegas, because you're going to have 2 gold people there. You're going to have Lynette Zhang. You're going to have Andy Schectman, who is in the clip that's being censored. He's the one talking about it. You're going to have Andy Schectman. And you're going to have Chris Giancarlo, who was the chairman of the CFTC. If anybody knows all about COMEX Rule 589, he does. But I don't know what combination of those people that Brad Combs is going to have on stage at XRP Las Vegas, but he's given me his word that we will address that topic with some combination of the gold people and Chris Giancarlo. And that's worth going by itself, not to mention the fact that they're going to show the documentary preview there. So I can't wait to go. Now, in the private group, DAIXRP.com, I've got the discount to XRP Las Vegas posted at the very top. And if you're not in the group, you can go in the description of this video. I have all the links to it. Pretty much everything, based on what I've talked to Brad about, pretty much everything is selling out. Yesterday, I talked to Brad Combs, and it like really started to accelerate. And my prediction, I keep telling you, by the end of March, I think this thing is sold out. So go ahead and grab your tickets while you can. Now, I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that here we go. We're going to talk about censorship, controversy, things that somebody doesn't want us to talk about. Here we go.
Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.